Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar about how to improve your journey to hyperautomation. My name is Rafael. I'm Director of Customer Success for Run2Biz. I've been working in the IT industry for the last 25 years, mostly in advertising companies as an IT operation manager for companies like McCann and TBWA. In the last 7 years, I've joined the Run2Biz company, and we have here alongside with us, Vinicius Gravito. Hello, Vinicius, how are you?
Hello, everyone. Hi, Rafael. How are you? I hope everyone is fine and is safe today. My name is Vinicius Gravito. I'm a Senior Solution Architect at Run2Biz, and with over 15 years in implementing ESM and ITSM project, and worked as project management. And today we will share with you a little bit information and case about the hyperautomation. So to start, Rafael, how can I help you to understand the hyperautomation process and implementation?
How about password reset?
How about a question? Are you daddy?
Yes, I'm a dad. How did you guess that?
I got it because you are bad jokes.
I'm sorry. I love bad jokes.
I know. So the hyperautomation, we can increase the reduction noise in your environment. We can create big workflows and rules, specific business rules, and to manage entire process in your network, such as get some information from your ERP and get information from another system and compare some information, and do some automation. So it's a big process. And because that, we can improve the customer experience, reduce costs, increase service desk efficiency, and the most important, the observability. And we can observe all behavior from your company. And for example, we have a system in internet, and the observancy and the HyperAutomation using machine learning, understanding the behavior of your customers and your company. So after 2-3 months, the HyperAutomation and machine learning learned your behavior in your environment. And if it's something different happen in your environment, the HyperAutomation can, for example, block some access, can send SMS or information in your smartphone about, hey, your server, you have some problem in 2 hours, use prediction. So the HyperAutomation involve a lot of parts of your company. It's more complex than reset password.
Okay, so let me see if I got straight. I have a very good example for us here. So when you talk about the differences between automation and HyperAutomation, I think I got a very, very good example for you here. So like your chatbot, right? You're talking about HyperAutomation using a chatbot.
No.
Yeah.
So, okay, the reset password was better. Okay, next slide, please.
Okay.
So the path of HyperAutomation, we have some steps. We can see in the screen, we have basically 3 steps, 3 phases. And the first one is the task automation, rules, RPA, and event process. Get information from monitoring tools and APA, etc. After gather this information and use the simple automation, you can do the next step. Process automation using BPMS, for example, and workflows, and the conversational UX, chatbots, virtual assistants, machine learning, and I get information and learn with your environment and the all behavior from your customer, your environment, etc. And I gather all information, looks like data flywheels. So you can always improve the information in your machine learning and in your system. And HyperAutomation, it gather all information and create some automatization you need to implement, but create some automatization in your environment. And we reach the next step, the business operation, the digital operation, and the intelligence, AI, machine learning, and the advanced algorithmics. Look, at this point, when we reach the HyperAutomation, we get information from our ecosystem, from our company customers' behaviors, and my machine learning can use this data, and I configure my HyperAutomation, my workflows to start. So I have some behavior, I need to do something, and using this methodology, we can reach the HyperAutomation.
Okay, so now if I got this right, it looks something like this. That we are really talking about.
Wow, very good.
Yeah, I got it right this time. We're talking here. I studied a little bit for this. This webinar. So when we're talking about HyperAutomation, we're talking about really the entire ecosystem in the company. And we're talking really about every single system that you can use. Even if you have a legacy system that's been there for quite a while, then you can, give new power to your legacy systems doing the HyperAutomation. And it looks like that the idea is to, as Vinny is saying, that I might get something from the chatbot and then use something like that to feed into the CRM. and then use that information back again. As you see here, that we have multiple ways of going back and forth with the information. So the chatbot can use artificial intelligence and machine learning to improve the way that it's going to communicate with our customers. Hence, what we're talking about, one of the biggest improvements in hyperautomation is to improve customer experience. I got it right, Vinny?
Perfect.
Okay, first time. So let's talk about one of the, what are the major benefits of hyperautomation, Vinicius?
So we have a lot of benefits, but the 6 main benefits was 316 visibility, because the observability in our environment, so it's not only network, all behavior. 24/7 operation, so you don't need have some employee working 2 a.m., for example. And remote management and control, because using your smartphone, you can use the chat ops and manage all your environment using chatbot and some chat using your smartphone. Autonomous operation, you don't need feed information manually. You just need to integrate with your system, your environment, and the hyperautomation, machine learning, you get information from the specific integration, for example. And the most important, create a standard operation. If you can create a standard operation and supported by machine learning, you can repeat the same behavior and reduce the navigability possibility and the other problems, and better engagement from your customer. Because if I have a standard operation, I can repeat and understand all environment behavior. I have a safer system, and all my jobs and works inside the company automated by hyperautomation. So I have more customers, because I have my operations clear, and in the hyperautomation can reduce my costs, and if I save money, I can invest in other areas, in other products, etc. So when I start the hyperautomation process, you can see your company 10 years ahead.
Okay, it looks really good there, because what I can see from here that, for example, in any company, we know that they have like 30, sometimes we've seen universities with 50 different systems, and the end user doesn't even need to know that they have any of those systems.
It's a perfect example of universities. You have 15, 16 systems. So using hyperautomation is using 2 platforms, HyperAutomation and ITSM. You can get information from all systems and deliver the value for your end user. Doesn't matter the technology. Here we can present and we talk about the value. So, for example, I need to get some information. I need to take some information from my university. Okay, so we have go to any departments and take my document, for example.
Okay.
Using hyperautomation and workflow and ITSM, I can go to university portal, create a request, and all steps and about my grade, about my information, all information from my bio. The hyperautomation can gather this information and deliver automatically my information in 2 seconds.
Okay, so I don't need anybody on the back to do the information.
So it's a basic, the basic process that we can implement in university, for example, for hyperautomation, we can expand. If you expand in all areas in your university or your company, you can automate. First, you automate. After, hyper-automate. We create little automations, and after, plug all automations together and use the orchestration and machine learning to turn that for hyper-automation and deliver the best value for them.
Okay, so Vinny, I mean, you're painting a really pretty picture for us here. That I'm going to get all the systems and I'm going to put everything together and have a very, powerful solution that's going to solve all the problems. But you know that I'm also a project manager, and it rings a bell to me that I'm getting too many systems, and the systems, are getting too powerful. And I remember this guy, I don't know if you guys know this philosopher called Uncle Ben. And he once get, this very famous sentence, with great powers come great responsibility. Yeah, I love a bad joke. Sorry, guys. So what I'm trying to say here is that when we're adding those systems, we're not just adding technology, we're also adding a layer of complexity to all the systems. And we're also increasing the chance of having any issues or any trouble inside of those systems. Because when I have to put everything together to get an answer, I'm assuming, and Vinny, please correct me if I'm wrong, if I update any of those systems, and if any of those systems go wrong, then I lose the entire operation, right?
Right.
Okay. So points that I think we need to rule out when we're talking about why hyperautomations fail. And I think in a typical automation, you have to look at the entire process. Before you start automating, take a look at your process itself. Because when you automate a process, there is a very bad process, then you're going to get garbage really faster. You had garbage there. Now you're producing a lot more garbage. And when we're talking about hyperautomation, on the top of, I have to look up my process first, then I also have to take care about integrations. Do I have the right integrations? Can I make my systems work very smoothly? I think this is a very strong issue that we have to take care of. And talking about the impact of, this chain of value inside of the company, another common mistake that we talk about is when we're talking about a process automation, the focus is not the process itself, it's the value that's going to bring. And when we talk about hyper-automation, sometimes, companies tend to focus on technology. So when you talk about technology itself, then maybe you have the problem again. Why hyper-automation might fail? Because you're focusing on the technology side of it and not how this technology is going to bring value to the core of what your company is doing right now. And again, you're adding layer and layer and layer of complexity, but what is the value after all of that? You're just creating complexity that's going to be hard to maintain. It is a system that is going to drive a lot of money, a lot of effort. It needs to bring value to the company. And the last risk that I want to talk about is exactly that. We're talking about IQ4 and the stream value capability that we need to have. So the main focus is always on the customer, not on technology. Well, I believe that's everything that I need to bring about this. And again, when we talk about how to overcome the risks, and the commandment number one is know thy process. Okay, so understand what you're doing. And number two is remember what we talked about, what Gartner saw in companies. You need to engage those different teams, and you need to make them understand that they're working towards something really different. And what they're doing needs to be consistent. They need to interact a lot more. And the third thing that we're talking about is bringing value to the customer. Everything that the company needs to do needs to work towards with the core value of the company is going to bring to the customers. So the single person that can fire everyone in the company is your customer. And the last one, Vinny, the last one, this is very important. Forget about Yoda.
What?
Yeah, Yoda. You know why you need to forget about Yoda?
I know Yoda, but...
Yeah, you know Yoda. Because Yoda has this very important saying of do or do not, there's no try. We need to be agile, okay? Please do try. We know that we're going to make mistakes. It's a bumpy road ahead. And I've been working with agility for, 3 to 5 years from now. And we understand we're going to make mistakes throughout the process, okay? But if you can contain the scope of what you're doing, then yes, please do try. And it isn't that doing, that small sprint that you're going to understand what is the value of what your team are doing and how to understand, as Vinny was explaining, the connections between those systems, and you're going to create a better solution. Even if you reach a dead end on the road, do not give up. You just go ahead, understand what are the problems. You might need to bring in more people inside of the system to understand how to go ahead. So Vinny, forget about Yoda and please do try. And Vinny, I heard that you have a couple of examples for us where, we're talking about hyperautomation, everything that people are doing, but do we have any examples?
Sure. I guess I have 3 slides. Can you?
Yeah, of course.
Please.
Sure. First one.
So I present now our AOps platform and integrated with ITSM. It is the same platform. It's a bundle. Okay. So it's really important to understand the steps that we will follow and present here. Inside the AOps platform, we have the full stack observability. So I said a few minutes ago, use the observation and inside your environment to gather information directly and use this information inside the platform through the data ingestion pipeline. So I get information and I ingest. And I put in this information in my pipelines, ticketing.
So what you're saying is that by getting information from the systems, you can increase, you get a better response, right?
Perfect. Thank you. Ticketing and notification, because some operation need to receive some information about the create a new ticketing incident or event. So you said about IT4, we have the event and monitoring practices in IT4, so it's perfect about the ticketing and notification using the observability. Self-healing and disaster recovery. We have pipelines, so if something you happen in my environment, it doesn't matter what is my device. If something you happen, I can use the self-healing or use prediction to not happen. Okay, and high-level automation workflow. I use all steps together, use the proactive and predictive models because the system understands the environment, and I can use prediction to avoid some
errors in the system, as you're saying. For example, we know that the server is behaving badly.
For example, hacker attack.
Okay.
And we can use to automate but in security also. And we have ready to use SAP, Microsoft, Rancher, and all CI/CD for DevOps, and integration with all APIs and databases, and physical sensor, because you can get information using or not use agents installed. So I listen your environment and get this information, and I can install inside the customer environment. For example, some customers can't use the cloud, so I can install the AOps platform in customer environment, or in AWS, we can monitor and get information across the company system.
So, as you're saying, we can have a solution that is cloud only, that is on-prem, and it's hybrid. I can use part of the customer environment and gather information and send to the cloud.
Yeah,
that's great.
Next, please. The first step, we will get information for your company about your environment and create the incident model. So what means incident model? The system, you get information and you understand the root cause. After understanding the root cause, you learn, and now I work a predictive process. I implement the predictive because I understand your environment. And if I understand your environment and I know the root cause about the error, for example, I can create the correlation between events and create a new model and ingest this new model and use it and be more predictive. Okay.
So what you're saying is that the system can, understand how machines are behaving, for example, inside of my infrastructure, and they're going to understand what is the normal operation.
Yeah.
So everything that goes outside of the normal is where you create that incident, right?
Right, but you go to next step, the inside models.
Okay.
The inside models, it's the same that you said. And I can understand, and I can use the prediction. Hey, this behavior, will happen something. It's next step: monitoring, prediction, autonomous.
Okay.
The last one, and self-healing, topology automatically. So your environment gather and ingest more and more information, the event correlation. And it's a life cycle.
Okay. So, Vinny, when you're talking about autonomous, I think everyone would like to understand how the 4Biz platform works. Is it semi-autonomous or is it fully autonomous?
It's up to you decide. We can work with the both way, semi-autonomous or fully autonomous. In my opinion, some systems or behaviors, we can use the sign autonomous and other fully autonomous because, okay, self-healing or block some access, it's perfect. Other, more specific, semi-autonomous.
Okay, so we can give the user the option. If they want to have the alert and act themselves, then we can have semi-autonomous. But if something really standard, like as you said, I just want to block, if anyone is trying to do a denial of access, in my infrastructure, then you just cut the access and let it. Okay, perfect, great.
So, Rafael, I would like share my screen and present in a specific case. So I explain the case. I log in service portal, and I create a request for create a new virtual machine in AWS. And you receive the IP and the all pipeline. You create this virtual machine, and I can access, and I turn off the server, and I turn on and receive a message in my smartphone, in chat, in artificial intelligence, my chat bot. You ask me if I want to turn on the machine again. So before the presentation, I would like also present how we can customize that. Can I?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So now you present our HyperAutomation platform integrated with the ITSM platform. It's a bundle, work together. So I will start presenting the AIOps platform. The first thing that we have is AIOps. We said about the prediction, and I will show some dashboards and pipelines, and how can we integrate and automate our environment, use the observability, and understand the AI ops and the hyperautomation concept. And after, inside of the ITSM, we will create the workflows and the all pipeline working. Okay, so here we have the forecast dashboard, and I can choose the specific period or time frame. And here we have the data from my CPU usage, for example, and based on all information from the last 3 hours or 3 months, doesn't matter, we can the system will present for me the prediction about the usage, CPU usage. It's the same for the IO network. So we can use the prediction because the machine learning gather information from my environment and use all information and the observability to deliver for me the prediction, a forecast about my environment behavior. Here we have two samples, a network and the CPU usage, but we can use for access, for process, or doesn't matter. Okay, without to use the agent, we can create the platform, create our relationship between the devices and create the network map. And here we have the most important thing, the arrows. So we have arrows because the flow data. So the arrows, the flow data. So the information came from a specific device and they go to another device. And we can create all pipelines without programming needs. We don't need programming nothing inside of the pipelines because we have our observability. We get information from another system, and here we can create the pipelines integrated to get information from the external environment.
So, Vinny, what you're saying is that we could use no coding to create the solution, right?
Yeah. So I will present now here a sample. I will add to my pipeline. Here we have a Convault pipeline. So we use vibes, our workflow, and I can choose the specific information or action here. So, and create, for example, here, get host situation, get host status. If host offline, go and get jobs. These jobs you can use, for example, Jenkins or our platform or Ansible, doesn't matter. So our platform cover our information and our integration about that. So and here we just need use our plugin, ready to use plugins, Active Directory, Apache, Azure, and Docker, AWS, GitHub, JBoss, Jenkins, or for example, Rancher, and use Kubernetes and SAP or Slack, doesn't matter. We can integrate and get information from our external system and create our workflow. So I got information, use observability, machine learning, and because the machine learning understands all behavior from environment, I can use the HyperAutomation full or half, for example. Okay, so after create all information, we can deliver inside the environment, and our information will be monitored by the AIOps platform, and more information will be ingested by the platform. And you need to choose if the platform you automate our environment and self-handling and working alone, 0 thresholds, or if you want use some interaction with your environment.
So again, I have all the pipelines, as you're saying, which are different workflows.
Yeah.
And we can do self-healing it can be full autonomous and semi-autonomous.
Yeah.
And I don't need to understand anything about coding to do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, for example, you have legacy system, and we don't have here the pipeline. So we need create the new gadget, the new connector, and we can do that and deliver for you for a specific system or using the basic API.
Okay, so Vinny, what you're saying, I think is really important for us because we know that most companies in the US and in Europe and whatever will have a couple of legacy systems which are there. They don't want to change because they're doing what they need to do. And with HyperAutomation, for example, with the Simon, with AIOps, we can bring new powers to your legacy systems, right?
Perfect. The amazing information, because we can use for power, increase the power in the legacy system, and rise this system for a new era.
Great.
Okay, so continuing here, I show for you how can we use this pipeline integrated with the platform. Okay, so here we have our ITSM platform for this, and I have my service catalog and Kanban and our virtual assistant and chatbot, and I go to my service catalog and the service desk, cloud services, and I need to create a new virtual machine. Don't create a virtual machine like a basic virtual machine. I don't know if I have space in my hypervisor. I don't know if I have memory, if I have permission, or the subnet or network subnet or IP address that I need to configure. So my HyperAutomation, you using observability, you understand our environment, and you create the virtual machine with my needs, specific needs that you configure here, and you request, and the HyperAutomation, okay, this disk size, are you creating a specific hypervisor or a specific storage? Are you creating the virtual machine using the specific rules? So I don't need to do nothing, just to request. Let's do that. Microsoft for vCPUs and 8 gigabits and my disk size. I need Windows Server for my new application. So if I use, if I did this request for my infrastructure department, for example, maybe in 1 week I will receive my response. So here I will ask and I request, and let me see here, save. So at this point, our workflow is understanding my needs, and you create a specific ticket and deliver the machine. 5487, I back to my digital workspace. So now I go to my requests and 5487, and I take a connection information here. My public, I connected this machine. Okay, so 18.231.7958. Okay. More choice, different user demo. Okay. The HyperAutomation and the AOps platform integrated with the ITSM platform deliver for me in few seconds, maybe 1 minute, a new server ready to use regarding all my needs and all company specification, the behavior and rules. So I will create here a new document, okay? Document here, HyperAutomation, okay? And here I will put my Rafael's HyperAutomation definition, reset password. I love it. Okay, and I will shut down my server. Okay, if I already configured the full automation, this machine will turn on automatically. So here I can receive my smartphone SMS, for example, or I can use my chatbot to get information, send information using my smartphone by SMS or my chatbot, or doesn't matter, your company chat, ask for my virtual intelligence. Hey, some Windows server it's down, and the virtual assistant can answer and give me some choices. I can turn on the machine, or I can create an incident. Doesn't matter. So this option you can configure inside of the pipeline and platform. Here I request a new virtual machine, but using observability, the platform, you understand that it's the same server, the same configuration from the same requester. And the AIOps platform, you see inside the environment, hey, I created before this machine, and this machine is turned off. Okay, I don't need to create again. I can turn on the same machine. Let's try. I go to my service catalog again because I don't need my machine. My machine it's turned off. Service desk, cloud service, create a virtual machine, and the same Windows, 4 vCPUs, 8 gigabits, and 4 giga. It's a specific configuration for this demo, okay? It's not the full pipeline, it's a specific configuration. Here, hey, I need to create a Windows server. Windows server. Okay, and we'll save. Now the pipeline and the AIOps, machine learning, all information will be consulted, and the pipeline will deliver for me the Windows server. 5488. Let me back to my portal, and here my requests 5488, and I count information. It's another IP. Should be another machine. Let me try 54.207.67.58. Okay. Demo. The password. Okay. Let's go. So it's the same server. Here our HyperAutomation definition from Rafael. So this behavior, the AIOps, the HyperAutomation platform, get information from my environment, and the requester was the same, and the server was created a few minutes ago. And in this specific demo, the platform turn on the same server. So you can create in your HyperAutomation different rules using workflow and pipelines and no code to automate all company. Remember, it's most important, the observability, because when install the 4bis AIOps platform and ITSM in your company. The platform expand 2 or 3 months to understand all your environment, get information, and based in your environment, increase the information, the data information, the data ingestion, and we can create the pipelines to create the HyperAutomation step by step, integrated with our chatbot platform or smartphone integration, WhatsApp, omnichannel capabilities, doesn't matter. So it's the truly HyperAutomation. Makes sense for you, Rafael?
Makes a lot of sense. So no just resetting password, guys. So thank you so much, Vinny. So guys, thank you. And the next one.
You need share your screen. I get the screen before.
Okay, so now you can see my screen. And Vinny, thank you so much for your presentation. Just to wrap it up, guys. We know that this culture is gonna come up to this. If it can be automated, it will be automated. It's impossible to go away from this future. And to sum up everything that we said today, I'd like to bring up three small things that you can do to improve your journey to HyperAutomation. So first one of them is, of course, it seems simple, but you need to plan ahead. What I'm saying is, it's complex, it's hard to get there. It's not a week, it's not a single sprint. As Gartner and Deloitte says, it's a multi-year effort, okay? So please plan ahead. It's everything that you need to do, okay? Understand what is the core value that you want to bring. Understand what are the ITSM, ERP, what systems are you going to use? Is there any legacy systems that you need to update within this journey? Then create your plan. The second thing is then identify and redesign everything that you need to do. Now is the time to pick up, those processes that you need to, I'm going to automate them. Okay, let's look at them. Are they okay? Do I need to revise what's going to come out of the process so I don't get a lot of garbage faster? Then do that. That is the time. And why redesign? Exactly to get a better outcome of everything that you're doing with the HyperAutomation journey. And last of one, we've seen Gartner, we've seen Deloitte, we've seen everyone as a project manager. What I can tell you guys is the single most important and thing that you need to do. Agile says it the same way: communicate. I cannot emphasize this as much as I want to, but guys, we need to communicate all the efforts we're trying to do to all the teams. It is really the time to change how things are doing. We know that most of the teams are working remotely now, so now's the time to improve your communication skills. And if you need to bring some people to the company to do that, don't be afraid to do so. Communicate, make everybody understand what they need to do and what is their role inside of the big change and the big journey to HyperAutomation. Please involve and integrate your teams. I think that's it for today. Let's jump into Q&A. Here are our emails. If you have any questions that we cannot answer on the next 10 minutes or so, please do not be afraid to write the questions and we'll be more than glad to answer them as soon as we can. Okay? Let's jump to the Q&A. Sorry, folks, my mic was on mute. So how to effectively get started in HyperAutomation? Well, that's a very, very good question. I would say that the answer to this is also kind of complex, I would tell you this. Let's just go back on the previous slide. Please plan ahead. So what is the value that you want to bring with HyperAutomation? What is it that you want to do with HyperAutomation? the first thing that you need to set is your goal. Do you want to, increase value of your solution, improve customer experience, reduce cost? Then once you decide what you want to do, then you can plan ahead and get what systems you're going to need, what type of people do you need on your team. And one of the things that you guys might need to think about is exactly what kind of skills, what set of skills you need to have on your team. There's a very good piece of Gartner that explains that, which is the 6 hats that you need to have on your team. Please take a look at these if you have access, which then explains what kind of skills you need to have on this multi-layer team to make the journey work, okay? And then check your systems, check your operations, and see what you're going to need in this project to make it work. Again, companies are different; they have different goals. It's extremely difficult to tell you. There's not a single recipe for that. But the first thing is really plan ahead and know where you want to get. Okay. So next question that we have here is, okay, how to improve customer experience with HyperAutomation? Okay, a valid question, and I will tell you this. Okay, I was watching a seminar from the CEO. I think it was from a big hotel chain. I don't know if I can name the guy, but one of the biggest hotel chains in the world. So they were saying that they had this project and they had decided to decrease the time that people took when they're doing the check-in, And it was, again, a year effort, $1 million into this. And after a year or so, and they got to reduce the time for check-in in, 2.5 minutes. Great success for the team. The project was a hooray. Everybody was happy. But then they were checking, customer experience and how they were reacting to this. And it was a disaster. Because when you remember, you need to deliver value for the customer, not what you think is value for the company itself. And they were doing a lot of interviews to understand how could this be a disaster. They reached exactly what they wanted to do. And they understood that checkout was a value on how fast you could do that. But when you're doing a check-in, people want to be pampered. I wanted to have someone there and they give me attention. So it was the wrong value throughout the entire project. So how to improve customer experience with HyperAutomation? First, put your customer at the very top of your project. Understand what is the value that you need to deliver for them. And then understand in the chain of value, what are the top systems that you need to integrate to make that experience happen either faster or providing more information. Make the customer feel that they are at the center of your operations. I think that will be it. So guys, do you have, we have, I think, 2 more minutes. Any more questions? Okay, so you have our emails there. If you have any more questions, please do not hesitate and send the questions. We'll answer them as soon as we can, okay? So thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure to have here almost an hour with you guys. Thank you so much for your time. See you on our next webinar.